Hey everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me for another Maritime Mysteries. This particular one is surrounding the disappearance of Lynette Hooker. She is 55 years old and she has been reported missing or went overboard over the open sea from her dinghy that she shared with her husband. And he's the one that reported her missing. But here's the thing. They got on this dinghy after leaving, I guess, a restaurant, and they were going to head back to their yacht. And this was about 7:30 p.m. They go off, I guess it's choppy waters, and then he claims that she went overboard, that he threw like a flotation device to her. He watches her being carried away by the current, and she had some sort of key, I suppose, and once she fell into the water, the engine or the motor stopped running. So then he had to, I guess, paddle his way back to another island of the Bahamas. And that took over, 8 or 9 hours before he could report her missing. And it just sounds crazy and tragic for sure. You know, a lot of people automatically suspect the husband. We know that. Her daughter came out and said she really wants her mom's case thoroughly investigated because she alleged that, you know, over recent times, things have gotten a little stressful and volatile between Lynette and her husband, all alleged, this is according to her daughter, and that when they were drinking, they might be drinking even on the boat, from what I gather, things could get really kind of, as she worded it, volatile. So she wants to make sure that the disappearance is thoroughly investigated and that her mom is found. I mean, right now they're treating it as a recovery, which is so tragic. And I'm so sorry to her family and those who really care and love her. I just can't even imagine. It's one of those things that is like an absolute nightmare. So if you need more details, I suggest you look it up. I will try to link in the description box a more recent article as of me recording this, which is in the wee hours of the morning, 1:30 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time. I am also in the Caribbean, but on a different island. And it is 1:30 a.m. April 8th, 2026. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to use what I always use, my Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, and just tap into the energy, seeing what Spirit wishes to reveal to us. Let us know about her disappearance. Remember, everything is alleged. Okay. We have a mirror. Wheel. Ow. Umbrella. A ribbon. Number 59. It's interesting to me. I think, how old is her husband? Is he 59? To look it up. I know she's 55. I don't know if he's 58 or 59. But the reason, that's just why that stands out to me, is because of the 59 card here. The red stuff, blood. Now, again, everything's alleged. We're following the cards. We're keeping an open mind. That's how we do over here with our readings. If you end up pulling cards, we have mushroom. Please feel free to share in the comment section on what you're picking up. And be free to share. Just respectful, because, we want to be respectful to Lynette, including her husband and her loved ones. But also, if you feel like, no, this was just a tragic accident, it's okay to share you know, your intuitive hunches and theories. Okay. I'm going to follow the cards' meanings. Okay, 1 second. Let me grab something. Okay, it's not working. Okay, never mind. Sorry, you guys. All right, so let me zoom in so you can see the cards more up close. And the first card we have is 24. You know, I like to also consult the little guidebook to see if there's any clues within the guidebook that gives us more clarity about what's going on. But first, I'll just take a look at the cards and take in the messages. Okay, so what stands out to me is the mirror sitting over the ribbon card, which is interesting to me. They both seem like a lovely couple, right? They do. When you see their social media platforms and the lifestyle that they were living, it seemed exciting, fun, and that they really cared about one another. That was the energy. So, you know, of course, it raises alarm bells when the daughter is saying, no, that may not be the case, you know, so look into it closely. So we have this mirror card. Mirror is about self-reflecting or self-reflection, reevaluating your perceptions and vanity. Let's break that down. Self-reflection and reevaluating. Could she and or her husband have been in that mode, doing that in recent times that we may later find out? We'll see, right? It remains to be seen. The other thing that stands out to me is this vanity over the ribbon cards. Someone thinking that they are prized or thinking that the other one feels like them, you know, like the other person's thinking that they're prized, and, you know, and where's this vanity going? Is it going to their head? It could be something along those lines when you have the mirror sitting over the ribbon card, okay? Also, the mirror card could be about, you know, it didn't sound like the daughter had mentioned something about the husband, you know, not being pleasant. I'm just paraphrasing, not being pleasant when drinking was involved. And of course, maybe her mama don't back down or what have you, but that there was a lot of reflecting back of, you know, the less savory kind of emotions within each other. And you're on a boat all the time. They lived on their boats, you know, and you're in a small confined space, and you're not, you know, not really going to like a 9-to-5 job and having some breaks. This is y'all's life, morning, noon, and night. So there was a lot of reflecting back and forth. But I just find it so interesting that the mirror is sitting over this ribbon card in number 59. I will have to look to see how old her husband is, just out of curiosity. If you all know his age, let me know in the comment section. We have here ribbon. And ribbon, I'm going to read it this way this time. Normally I like to read it this way and then this way, but for some reason I'm called to talk about these cards together. My intuition. Okay, so this is cool. The ribbon card represents, these are the key meanings that comes in the guidebook. Happy times, festivities, a formal occasion or innocence, a symbol of hope and feminine beauty. Okay, let's break that down. Let's break that down. Remember, this card is sitting underneath vanity. Now, a few of the keywords that stand out to me is happy times, festivities. Was it a celebratory thing they were doing right before they got on the dinghy to head back to their yacht? We will hopefully find out a bit more about the moments leading up to before she goes on the boat. Will we be able to see some surveillance from the restaurant that they were leaving to confirm that she left and went off, you know, to the docks or what have you? We're hoping, you know, I would hope that the authorities are piecing it all together. But it could be revealed that, oh, they looked happy. Now, does that mean that there's a moment of happiness that negates everything that what her daughter is saying? No, it doesn't. But it is just an interesting thing for it to be mentioned in the reading. The other thing that stands out to me with this ribbon card, festivities. Maybe they were drinking, having some libations. That also could change your reaction time. That could alter your reaction time. So if there was a crisis, the water's choppy, all this turbulent stuff going on, you're not wearing your life jacket, and all of a sudden one bump and you're, floundering. And even if you are a strong swimmer, if the conditions are just right, it can carry you off somewhere. However, I think really what this card is talking about, one other keyword before I get into these two. Innocence, a symbol of hope, innocence. So this could be a nod. I'm just throwing it out there as an interpretation for some of us, for us who are looking at the reading, as a whole, that it's saying he's innocent. The circumstances weren't probably wise, what led them to this point, but maybe he's innocent. However, I suspect that it says feminine beauty, and one of the keywords is vanity. Could there have been some discussions, some concerns, some arguments, some fighting over feminine beauty being in vain? Maybe someone admiring a feminine beauty, or maybe she was being admired, or maybe she was getting all the attention in their social media platforms, or maybe there was something going on along those lines. I don't know. But that's what I'm picking up with these two cards in combination of one another. Now, let's now move this way. And we're going to move to the wheel card. Interestingly enough, it's a ship's wheel. Who was steering this little dinghy? Who was at the helm? I don't know much about boating, by the way. So, I don't know. But, will, progress, venturing into one's destiny, travel, or coming full circle. And this again ties to what maybe some of the arguments could be about. Someone wanting to make progress, longing to venture into their own destiny. It says venturing into one's destiny. When you see one, you think of own. You don't think of our destiny. You think of my destiny. Okay? Someone bearing witness to that. In the days, weeks, months ahead of their voyage. So interesting here too. Like, did he, and I think that he did. In fact, obviously they found the flotation device, but it just begs the question, okay, how do we know when you actually threw it out there? You could have said it immediately, and it could be immediate. That won't probably be a lie, right? But what about what led up to her needing it in the first place is more of the question. And so the owl is about someone witnessing or giving wise counsel to her and or him, but I feel like it's her, about, okay, this is wonderful, you all are traveling, but maybe it's time for you to venture out on your own. Be on your own. And someone hearing that, knowing that amongst their friend group or something like that, or maybe even at the restaurant or the local places that they frequented, or, I don't know, let's see. And also them giving counsel about after you've traveled, because remember the key words to this card is travel, coming around full circle. Okay, what it would be going around full circle. I think this is I don't know if this is a second marriage, but I don't think this man is the father of Lynette's children, or at least her daughter. So maybe she's coming around to wanting to be single again, or coming around to ending travel. And, there's that. And maybe one of them didn't want that. So we're looking at the dynamics leading up to her going overboard. So the owl card comes with ancient knowledge. So knowing this for a long time, someone in the know about this. It could be even her or him and or him. Intuition is another key word. Deep mystery. That's concerning because that phrase could denote, will we ever really unlock what happened? Or let me reframe that. The reading's going to shed light on what it is, but if it came about that something squirrely happened, will it always remain a deep mystery of, shrouding her disappearance or what happened to her, even if they find her? That's concerning. But the last phrase here for this card is keen observation. Okay. So someone keenly observing this change. So now we're going to go to the umbrella card. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Umbrella. Protection from something. Beyond control. Now that's interesting. Sanctuary may be a bad omen. Could it just be a bad spell of luck for them? Could be, since it says maybe a bad omen. Forgot to turn my phone on. Do not disturb. Protection from something beyond control. Protection from something beyond control. Sanctuary. This owl knowing something about that. Protection from something. Maybe this is also dealing with the flotation device. I don't know. We'll see how that card plays out later, the umbrella card. And we talked about the ribbon card. Let's now talk about the blood card. Key meanings are life, vitality, sacrifice, heritage, and ancestry. Sometimes when this card comes up, it could mean there was some bloodletting going on, some bloodshed. Allegedly. Doesn't always, but it could. It also, according to the keywords, especially here, somebody wanted to come full circle in their life and strike out on their own, have their own life. They were willing to sacrifice something that appeared beautiful and alluring, and it could be this feminine energy that wanted that. But then it's this blood card sitting next to the mushroom and comet. These two cards are concerning. I'm going to show you why, or tell you why. And so some people may speculate, well, maybe something happened. They got into a bad argument and got to a point of no return. Okay. We didn't hear any reports of him having any marks on him yet. We haven't heard of anything like that. So we don't know about that. We don't know about her, but something was going on there. Now, card 80 is mushroom. Mushroom, sitting underneath the owl, mushroom is about failure, poor decisions, doubt, taking a risk, a growing problem. Oh my goodness, this is a loaded one. Because someone in their life or someone's witnessed this growing problem. Now, it could just be what her daughter is speaking to or speaking about. There was a growing problem in their relationship. They took a risk, okay, but ultimately someone sacrificed their life for this risk. Poor decisions, a failure, someone feeling like a failure. The other thing is poor decisions. I mean, I don't know about me personally. I don't like boats like that. It's so funny that I have a series called Maritime Mysteries. I'm just fascinated by the open seas and mysteries that happen in the open seas. But I could never imagine being on a tiny little boat going from one point to the next. And yeah, I couldn't do it. So poor decisions. I'm not trying to judge them. I just wonder if they had an impairment, especially with this mushroom card, something kind of toxic and growing and a growing problem, right? That's what the key phrase here is, a growing problem. But I kid you not, folks, the key meanings to the card is failure, poor decision, doubt, taking a risk, a growing problem. Someone having doubts about their decisions. Someone hearing, not just me, even her daughter, others may come forward in due time about this. Now this is the one, this last one right here. And it's sitting underneath the umbrella next to the mushroom. Comment has the keywords disaster, turmoil, catastrophe, destruction, war, a bad omen. It is another card. Like sometimes you have bad omens, you have bad luck, and maybe this is what these cards are really telling us at the end of the day. It was a tragedy because there were so many poor decisions being made. Yes, they had a lot of volatility going on. Yes, she may have wanted to be out of it, and that could be one of the arguments that they were having on this particular occasion. But this is sad. It's like disaster, turmoil, catastrophe, destruction, war. Now, war could indicate, and we're going to look at the other oracle cards in a moment in this reading. It could indicate that, yeah, they got into some kind of big conflict that ultimately led to her going overboard. Now, does that necessarily mean he shoved her? I don't know. But if you're fighting with your spouse, arguing or fighting in that little boat in precarious situations, that's, I don't know. That, it seems crazy to me. But we will find out, I'm sure, from a witness if they saw or heard anything about the moments, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months leading up to her disappearance. Did they see anything in the restaurant? How were things going the weekend before? Maybe at the grocery store as they're packing up and getting food prepared, to go on the boat. What did their friend group say? What other friends and family, old friends and family have to say? Ancient knowledge, this card says. And so that'll be able to help piece together like, okay, sure it was turbulent waters. And sure she could have hit a bump and bounced out. But I don't know, y'all. This card is concerning to me, as is this one, as is this one. You all let me know what you think of the cards' meanings as that I have here. I'm curious to hear what your take is on it. And if you've done a reading, let me know. All right, be right back. Okay, so now we're going to work with the Divine Shadow Self Oracle. And I'm just going to shuffle a few. We're not going to pull out a lot of cards. If this case continues to go on, I may go ahead. I already have outlined some questions I would pose for a detailed tarot and oracle reading. So, we'll see how this goes over the next few days. Hopefully she's found. Hopefully answers come about. But if not, I will do a part 2. We have here defensive, empty. I have 2 cases that come to mind on my Maritime Mysteries series. I'll link the description link in the description box my playlist for Maritime Mysteries videos, but in particular, the Natalie Wood case, the mystery surrounding how she went overboard, as well as Sarm Heslop. Sarm Heslop was in the Caribbean. I think it was the U.S. Virgin Islands, a more recent case. And then Natalie Wood I think she passed away in 1981 out of in Catalina Island area in Southern California. So check those out. Interesting reads I did a few years back. Okay, so defensive, empty, anything else, Spirit, surrounding the shadow aspects of Lynette Hooker's disappearance. Okay. Addiction, Spirit wants to talk about. Any more? Complacency. Okay, someone's being complacent while the other one is being defensive. We'll see. I know this must be so hard on the family. We have arrogance. Okay. And one more, Spirit. Coercion. Alright, let me scoot the camera tripod down so we can see them. Defensive, empty addictions, complacency, arrogance, and coercion. Someone being in a defensive position, always having to defend themselves or claim that they were defending themselves later down the line as this case unfolds. So we'll see about that. Someone needing to be defensive. It could be her husband, right? It could be simply her husband saying, look, I didn't do anything. It was an unfortunate series of events and she went overboard. I didn't have anything to do with it. Other than I wish I would have done X, Y, and Z. Defensive. However, it could be defensive wounds, allegedly, on him, or if she's ever found, they find something like that. Time is of the essence. Obviously, she's in open water, and it's been since the 4th. I'm now recording this in the wee hours of the 8th, so it's been a few days. So, with each day, passing day, her condition of her body, oh goodness, I don't even want to go there, but yeah, defensive, empty promises is what pops up in my mind. Someone feeling empty. Someone may show a pretty face, may show a united front, the bow is tied and neat, but deep down inside they may be feeling empty. We have addictions at play here, one or both of them, or maybe more of one than the other. From what her daughter is saying, that, alcohol was a thing for them. It could, but it sounds like he became more and more mean, I guess you could say, that allegedly, according to her daughter. Complacency. Who was getting complacent? Was it her? It could be that complacency led to, okay, you're not wearing a life preserve. Maybe people always go on little dinghies at night. Maybe it's nothing to go at. Oof, I just couldn't do it. Nothing at night, a little boat at night. But maybe that's not something you would normally do if you, had your wits about you or you were making proper choices. There's arrogance next to the complacency. The complacency card will be interesting to see as we hear more about the backstory, the moments leading up to her disappearance, to either say, yes, there could be something more sinister going on, or just to, rule that out, right? We're going to find out what's going on. And at the heart of this is some sort of complacency. Maybe she got complacent as well. I'm not victim blaming here. This isn't what it is, but maybe complacent in not realizing his arrogance. Arrogance and complacency can be also a deadly combo, in the sense of, if there was just no foul play, but just complacency and arrogance at play, that could be problematic, because it's like the person who's like, oh, I'm driving tonight. I haven't had that much to drink. And they get behind the wheel. They get complacent because they always do this. This is what they always do. They're arrogant about their ability, but something where someone runs out in front of the car, they lose control and crash. Well, that leads to an accident because you were complacent and arrogant. However, I think it's just that maybe she got complacent on dealing with some of these things. And yeah. So we have arrogance. I touched on that. There's some arrogance. There could even be allegations levied against her for being arrogant, although she doesn't appear to be that way. The feel and energy I get from her when I look at all of her photos and her videos, I don't get that. But I don't know about him. My focus on this reading was on her and seeing what comes up through Lynette. What is she saying? And she's saying she had to be defensive. She was starting to feel empty because of these addictions. She may have gotten complacent, dealing with arrogance. This is her perspective. And coercion. She was tired of being coerced into maybe having drinks. It's like, okay, well, what else are we going to do? I guess we're going to drink. We own this little boat, this yacht. Okay, so it could be something along those lines. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next. So now we're going to work with this one. This one's called the Real Life Tarot deck. It's got 78 cards, but it's not a traditional tarot deck. It's more like an oracle deck. That's kind of odd. But we're going to see what it reveals in terms of what happened or why this happened. Any clues on that? Because basically that's what we are trying to figure out. If there is some element of alleged foul play, what would be the motivation? Any clues on will she be found? We have the conspiracy theorist card. We have this money in a net card here, which I find interesting. Let's see. Moving back in. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Catfish. Oof. Catfish. Dishwasher disposal, or food going down the dishwasher disposal. And one more spirit. It's a bunch of cigarette butts. I wonder if one of them smoked. Huh. Okay. We're gonna get into it. Let's get into these cards. Hope you can see them okay. I'm wondering why the light keeps changing. Okay, I think it's gonna stop that. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so someone's money is flying everywhere, but inside the net, trying to catch money, and maybe that not happening, right? So that being at the heart of an issue, and someone becoming a little disillusioned. You're trying to catch this money, or money's flying around, and you can't get a grip on it, and it's becoming a problem, a growing problem. Off in the distance, there's obstacles here with the mountains. Okay, that's the symbolism here. The grass is no longer green. It's wilted. It's dead. It's burnt, like a drought. Like a drought is happening. And so there's been obstacles popping up, different expenses, and money just flying around, and they can't seem to get ahead. So there is an issue there. Now, that alone does not mean that there's some great conspiracy theory. That's why I find it interesting this card came up, that there's this great conspiracy theory that is that could just be the backdrop, their money thing. However, I like looking at the images for clues. And here we have the conspiracy theorists. But sometimes conspiracy theories are wrong. They're just based on, whatever. They can sound really good. They can piece all the things together and make for a good story. But oftentimes they're not rooted in reality. Whereas there is some truth to the conspiracy theory. And I'm wondering if this is the case. This is one of them rare cases that whatever the conspiracy theory is, allegedly, that it may have something that could help bridge the gaps or make us see things for what they are. The sad thing is, even if he is innocent, he's going to be shrouded in guilt for a long time to come, if not forever in his life, her husband. And so I don't take that lightly. And everything I'm saying is alleged. But what I find interesting is we have here the catfish, we have moving back in. So there's some significant issues here of maybe having to dock the boat permanently for a while and have to move back into a house, for example. Nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But then when you have the issue of money escaping, bottom feeder, people, here's your addictions. We're just throwing money down the drain. You see these cigarettes. Cigarettes are very expensive. It's a very expensive habit, as is drinking, as is probably boating. I don't know. Maybe boating is cheap. It probably is. Like, you're not paying rent or a mortgage, but it can become expensive when you're dealing with all these other expenses, and it can feel like you know, it's going down the drain, essentially, right? And that being a problem, a big, big problem. And then the catfish. The reason why it took my breath away is because of a number of things. Like, you don't always think of catfish as like the most up and up kind of animal, like a scavenger kind of energy. I'm not saying she was, I'm not saying he was, but that kind of energy, scrounging around at the bottom feeder, basically. Now, don't get me wrong, I will eat me some fried catfish, but you know what I'm saying. The other thing that alarmed me and what took my breath away was, oh no, like she sunk to the bottom and maybe she'll eventually rise to the top. I don't know. And like some people I saw already, like some people theorize that maybe she never even was on the boat. I have a feeling there will be evidence, say surveillance video at the dock or at the restaurant, and then showing them leaving together and then being able to piece together, yeah, she actually was on the boat. That won't be an issue. You're going to be, and I don't know how well versed the Bahamian police are at prosecuting cases like this. I don't know. I don't know their history, but you know, this would be a tough one to put together. That's what concerns me with this entire case. And will it always be something that's ultimately a conspiracy theory? That is what I fear as well. But I feel like somebody was not feeling this food or this whatever it was going down the drain. And we have the cigarette butts here. And maybe we'll hear more about a desire to move back into a home or back to home, moving back in, or maybe back to where they normally domiciled. I don't know where that is. I think they were from Michigan, but I don't know if maybe they are from Michigan and they live somewhere else, maybe Florida or somewhere. I don't know. But nevertheless, this is an issue. There is some truth to like this being in the backdrop and being something that they probably were even arguing on the boat. And that, all that arguing and rustling and tussling and getting, you know, on a choppy waters. And Spirit is saying, yeah, somebody with this addictions card, somebody may, and also the festivities that comes with the ribbon card too. Somebody could have been not all the way there, totally inebriated, and this making for a bad situation with this catfish card. Going swimming with the fishes. Oh no. All right, friends. Yeah, I'm gonna pull from a couple of other decks. They are true crime decks, but before I pull these decks, I'm only gonna pull so many. I'm not gonna pull so many cards. We want to understand that everything's alleged. No one has been named a suspect. Her husband is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. He has, I mean, as far as what I've seen is people treating it like a tragedy, like a tragic accident. So we have to bear that in mind. But I am going to use that deck because sometimes the decks come with clues, especially the Divine Crime Oracle. They might talk about miles or kilometers, how far she may be out or something like that. So that's why I'm going to pull it out. But I just wanted to give a disclaimer on that. It's a very important disclaimer. I know we have our feels and thoughts. Many of us do. I go back and forth. I'll be honest with you. My logical mind goes back and forth. But at the end of the day, it boils down to evidence. Whatever we're trying to allege. And if we don't have enough evidence, then what does it boil down to? A conspiracy theory. And I hope for her family's sake. No, it's not conspiracy theory. It's concrete answers that they can try to cope with for the rest of their lives. All right. I won't say live with because, oh my God, can you imagine living with something like this? All right. I'll be back. So we're going to work with just a few of my Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle cards. I normally do like 12 or at least 3 or 4 rows, ultimately like 12 to 16 cards. We're not going to do that. I'm just trying to get a pulse on things. I have status, Hold on. It's showing status. I'm trying to make it where it's not a glare. But it's a single, married, widowed, or divorced. And we know that she was married, right? That's what she's telling us. But there was going to be a change of status. Okay. Oh, dear. Greed. I'm going to have to turn down this light. I don't know why the lights are so bright. Oh, don't worry. I don't think she's pregnant. It could be that maybe one of her children was expecting or had a baby or had children, and she was ready to change course, Lynette, and do something different. This also could represent a new beginning that she was wanting to have, and someone not feeling that, someone being greedy about this. Greed. Now, people I've seen online saying, was there an insurance policy? We don't know. No mention of that has come out. I don't know. But we're just trying to get a pulse on what's going on here. Well, I'll just go ahead and put that there. No, we got terminated. So maybe the marriage was going to be terminated. It's sitting underneath the status card. A mountain of greed, a growing, or, landfill, dumpster, trash. Okay, this is alarming. Spirit wants me to do one more row, and then we'll move on. Somebody's son. I'm going to go see if I can turn off this light for the next deck. Lawyer, someone lawyering up. One more card. Rival, backstabber. Okay. Whew. Okay. Okay, so let me do this. I need to turn this light off. Because the next deck for sure is going to have a glare because it's glossy. So we have your status. I know you can barely see it, but it's showing status. We have greed, baby, terminated mountain, landfill, dumpster, or trash. Son, lawyer, rival, backstabber. Okay, so I've talked about these cards, terminated, sitting underneath this status card, the marital status card, that something coming to an end. Somebody's son having a problem with that, or somebody's son in the know about this termination of this marital status. Greed, it could be at play. Greed of wanting to possess someone or something, namely money, I suppose. Someone wanting and longing for a new beginning or experiencing a new beginning. Could be a grandbaby, or wanting to have a more settled life, a new beginning. The baby metaphor usually represents new beginnings. Mountain, not quite sure. Now this could be a physical location. What I mean by that is I don't know the topography of the Bahamas. I would have to look at the maps. Like, are there, cliffs, deep cliffs that almost look like mountains? Like, could her body be somewhere in like an area that has kind of like a range of hills, or I don't know if they have mountains in the Bahamas, but you know what I mean? It's just rough, rugged tall wall, like in California, for example, and even parts of the North Coast in Dominican Republic. There are like, drops, there's different, it's not all like sandy beaches, flat. There's, some kind of roughage on the coastline, if that makes any sense. So maybe even the name of mountain, Mount something, or having a formulation of these letters in some kind of cove or some area that has a variation of that. Just saying, just putting it out there. We have here landfill, dumpster, or trash. Someone throwing something away, or someone feeling like somebody's throwing something away, or that someone actually threw someone or something away. A rival, or someone who's perceived as a rival or backstabber. Maybe. It could also be that there could be key evidence in the trash on the main boat. Not necessarily on the little dinghy. There's no room on that little dinghy. But on the boat, the yacht that they shared, they may find some key evidence there, allegedly. Also, that, some people are like, well, he allegedly tossed her. I'm not going to go all in on that. You all can derive to whatever conclusion you want to derive from here. But someone or something being tossed, key evidence being tossed, or someone feeling like someone's throwing them away, and it had them feeling like you are a rival now, you are a backstabber, you turned on me. I don't know why my camera is like picking up the colors in that way. I'm gonna have to play around with it when I'm done recording. Sorry you all for the weird colorations of the cards, but hey, it is what it is. We have son, lawyer. Like I talked about the son, a male figure, older gentleman, maybe confiding in a younger gentleman or vice versa, or conversations between father and son. I don't know if her husband has any children. I don't know. But nevertheless, maybe father and son have heard things. Remember the owl card we got earlier? So it may not be her husband this is referring to. It could be someone else outside of them. And then lawyer. I don't know if he has a past history of being a lawyer or if he's going to be advised to lawyer up. I'd imagine that if he hasn't already, he probably is going to be lawyering up or consulting a lawyer. It would probably be in his best interest, to be perfectly honest, right? And some people just automatically assign guilt for someone who lawyers up. I personally, whether you're innocent or guilty, I would always advise you get an attorney if you're facing anything that could remotely put you behind in jail. So, yeah. That's what I would say about that. You all let me know what you think about what these cards are saying. I'm going to pull from a couple more decks. I think I have time for. It's late. So late. But we're going to see if we can get any information more about locale or what happened to her. I'm getting a sense with the blood card that we got earlier. There was some kind of argument ensuing. Yeah. And yeah, I'll be right back. So now we're going to work with the Divine Crime Oracle. Again, we're not talking about a crime at this point. I turned off the other light. There's still glare, but otherwise we'd be in the dark. You won't be able to see the cards. But we're going to just see what additional clues. June is of significance. Last June, this coming June. Intoxicated, drinking, drunk, or alcohol. Okay, Spirit, thank you for that information. We got that earlier with the addictions and the mushroom card, and also this card here. Okay, someone was intoxicated, drunk, drinking. Maybe a growing problem since June. Okay. Now this is interesting. Clean, framed, innocent, clear, conscious, setup, or scapegoat. Ooh. Okay. Stranger. I'm not quite sure what that could mean, but we'll put it on the table. Northeast. Hours here. You see that? April, obviously. I mean, she went missing April 4th. So, there's that. Could be April and June of last year. It's speaking to male child victim. Don't know what that could be. Again, sometimes these cards come through and they may or may not have, much to do with anything. Right? Or at least from what we can tell. And then other times, as the case goes on, you're like, oh, that's what that meant? This says unsolved. Unsolved. Okay. All right. Autumn. Spirit wants to talk a lot about timing. Timing with this case. Oh my goodness. Rubbish, landfill, dumpster, trash. Somebody maybe throwing something away. Clearly, because we've gotten that in 2 different decks. Unknown to police, not in the system, clean record. This is an interesting one. Now we got southwest. Now, I think the reason why we've got 2 different directions, it could be where she went and then where he went, right? Or where they were intending to go. Like she ended up going northeast, he went southwest. I want to make sure I'm concentrating. 3 mark hard, Spirit, south. Okay. I'd have to look at the map too again. We have male victim. I have to look at the motorcycle. Okay. This is, I was hoping we would get some kilometers or cards of that nature, other clues. I think I'm going to, I mean, she's in obviously the water in that vicinity, something about with the mount, something, or this kind of locale. I'm going to look at the Bahamas in that particular area. She's not far. If she remains missing or this case continues to go in a certain direction or takes a turn, I will be coming back to do a part 2. And we will ask pointed questions for the tarot at that time. None of these decks I use. This one's called the Real Life Tarot deck, but it's not really a tarot deck, right? All of these are oracle decks. Next reading will incorporate tarot. We have here June is of significance. It can represent someone's birth month who's involved or in the know, or when something happened in the recent past or something happening in the future in the month of June. We have here intoxicated, drinking, drunk, or alcohol. We know that by her daughter saying that there was something going on there in the relationship with one or both, and that was starting to become an issue. So, not surprising to see it twice. We saw it here, over here with addictions, mushroom. Yeah, we've seen it. So, clean, framed, innocent, clear, conscious setup or scapegoat. Now, at first when I looked at this, I said, oh, this is about her husband, clearly. He is innocent and he's going to be scapegoated as someone who is responsible. And yeah, that could very well be, and I could be totally, right about this or wrong about this. Or it could be that she scapegoated, like, oh, she was being the antagonist. He had to defend himself. They did have arguments because he may have to defend himself. But it was she that was getting rowdy and doing the most and bounced up out of the boat. So it could be something like this or that. Not quite sure. Maybe a stranger who's a witness who's seen things, who can place what kind of condition they were in before they came versus when they left the restaurant. Hours is critical. Not just the hours between when he claimed he last saw her and then when he reported her missing. We're talking about the hours preceding the 12, the few hours before, 10 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours. That's what we're talking about here with the hours card. That there was something that really illuminates how they ended up in this bad situation. I get a sense that what she's trying to say is, yeah, there was some kind of, issue that was going on, but ultimately, and there's some blame that she has towards him. But is there going to be a crime such as he shoved her and threw her away and this is how he's going to get away with it? I think that might be it might be just too far to go. I think that there was some sort of altercation, some combustible war that was exploding, and people probably witnessed that in the hours preceding it, and it just led to a tragic set of events. And that, yeah, it is true. She did want out. She's mad at him. She's bitter. She may have wanted to have been done with this whole boating thing even when this happened. She had more life to live, is what I get a sense of what she's saying. April is of significance, birth month of someone, or April, that's when she did disappear, or April in the past, having critical information. Maybe signing insurance docs, who knows? We'll find out. June preceding April. Alleged, right? Male child victim, not quite sure of what to make of this card. I keep getting victim cards. Male victim, male victim. We could have him be a victim, or claiming he's a victim in all of this. And there's really no way to prove or disprove that, right? That's what I'm getting a sense of here with the unsolved card. Key, something happening in autumn, maybe way down the line, declaring her officially deceased or something like that, or maybe that happens. I don't think it would be as soon as June. It could be. I don't know the laws of the Bahamas, so I don't know. Autumn is of significance. Preceding autumn. Let me see if I can zoom in. Or autumn in the future. We talked about rubbish, landfill, dumpster. Now, somebody could have been throwing away something in the hours preceding her disappearance, and also maybe from the even little dinghy. I don't want them to know I was turned up on this. So let me get rid of that. It's unknown to police what that is because it sank to the bottom of the ocean. And again, it's just really one of those sad things. When you follow these types of cases like I have been, you start to see patterns, and you start to see, oh my goodness, this was a recipe for disaster. And then you start to see the fallout for the loved ones who care about the person who's missing at sea or dies at sea. There's not much, usually a lot of recourse. It's rare. It happens, but it's rare. I don't know if he has a record or not, her husband. Not in the system, maybe, And it's only two people can be in that little boat. So we can't say that they had a third. So I don't know what this could mean here. Like I mentioned before, southwest, south. To me, I'm getting a sense of she may have gone northwest, or at least when you look at the map and where they were trying to head, or northeast, excuse me. And then where he ended up going, southwest. So to look in this area that has some kind of area nearby that has this shooting up out of the water. You know what I mean? Like a steep, like a cliff? I don't even know why I can't even think of it. It's like a wall. Motorbike, self-propelled, tussling. You have to be very careful. This is, again, a two-person thing. The Spirit's probably saying, one or two people. And the two people who were on that dinghy, this is what happened. They know. And I get a sense of all this was going on. It was a volatile situation. It was combustible. It led to a disaster with this comment. Do I think that he intended to hurt her or have her go off in the water? I'm going to venture to say no. But do I think that there were some bad choices made, some tempers flaring with him, allegedly, that had that not have been having, cool heads would have, prevailed? This would be a different outcome. We wouldn't even be hearing or talking about her disappearance. That's what I'm going to say. I'm curious to hear what you all have to say about what you think the cards are saying, but that's what I pick up. It's just these two involved. This is all alleged, but I think that, he may even confide, to someone who feels like someone he can confide in and say, I would have done things differently. And here we are now. So that's what I pick up on. I was going to just do a different clip, but I think I'm just going to shuffle these. Just some additional timing cards. We'll wrap up 2 to 3 years. We'll wrap up December's of significance. And then, like I said, I'll be watching this case closely. I have been since I heard about it. I think I heard about it on Sunday. And 2 weeks. I just kept following it, hoping they would find her a lifetime. And they didn't. And that was really upsetting. I was like, oh no. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a Maritime Mysteries because I am curious. Was there foul play? I mean, I think it's just I won't say it's all out foul play. I just think that it's all the years between them. I just think that it's an unfortunate series of events, and if he did have a hand in it, it was creating a very bad situation and making it worse. And is that a crime? I don't know with the Bahamian police or authorities. To us, we would say as people, that would be a problem. You can't, that's a highly hazardous situation that you both found yourselves in. And to escalate an argument over whatever, it was wild. And I think that's the energy I'm picking up from her. All right, so I'm just going to show you some of the timing cards. We got a lot of different years ones. We got 2 to 3 years, December, 2 weeks, a lifetime, decades. I don't know how long they've been married. That'll be interesting to find out as well. Winter, 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, 6 to 8 years. So could be a lifetime she's missing, or it could be, she's gone on to glory, and so there's a lifetime of having to deal with the fallout of her missing at sea and certain unanswered questions with this unsolved card, and always wondering, did he shove her? I get a sense it was a bunch of going back and forth. And did he just outright maybe shove her? I think they had some volatile fights. I'll leave it at that. And volatile can mean physical. It can mean certainly verbal and all the things. And I think that it was not intentional for him to be involved in a way of her getting into the water. He did lose his temper, though, is what I'm getting Spirit saying. Somebody was inebriated. Someone needed to also allow for hours of time to pass by before it was reported, because someone allegedly could see that she was gone. So that could be also something like, aren't you supposed to report it right away? But he has his excuse allegedly of he didn't have the key, the motor went out, he had to paddle. I don't know. That's interesting to me. 2 weeks, hopefully could be when they find her, or within 2 weeks, but I don't know, maybe 2 weeks we get more developments. Winter, past winters of significance, or we also got autumn. So we've got 6 to 8 weeks, could be into the future, something developing, coming about the case. As is 2 weeks, could be something maybe about declaring the search is off or something like that within the next 2 weeks. I don't know. Decades is interesting. Again, I'd be curious to know how long they've been married. How long has she been, if she was married before, and if this was maybe a short-term marriage. I don't know. We're just working through the cards. I'll have to sit and see how things pan out. I'm a card reader. I'm not a mind reader. I do tap into the energies intuitively to see what I'm picking up on. But yeah, I'm so sorry that this happened to Lynette. She seems like such a lovely lady, and it just really is heartbreaking that her family is going through this nightmare. And I can tell that all they really wanted her to do was to come on home and embrace a new way of life, a new being, of like a new beginning. And there's a lot of anger and mistrust surrounding that. But I think what she's trying to say is, yeah, he's at fault for a lot of things. Yeah, I feel like he is partly responsible for me going overboard, but ultimately, I wouldn't say like, oh, there's an insurance policy. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, this card was interesting. But what's also telling about my deck that I made is that I do have a card in here about insurance. I don't know if I don't think the Divine Crime Oracle has something, but I have cards that specifically talk about that. And I don't know if I don't think that's the case. I think that the addictions cards that keep coming up, the intoxicated card, those are telling us like what kind of like mind state they were in, or maybe he was in, like he was inebriated allegedly. Maybe she was inebriated, and who's to really say? It's a similar thing that came up in the reading I did for Natalie Wood. The other one, Sarm Heslett, though, I had to call a spade on that one. And y'all can watch him. You tell me what y'all think, but I had to call a spade. All alleged, but you know what I mean by that. But Natalie Wood's case has a similar feel like what I pick up that happened to Lynette here. Okay, it was like alcohol-infused fighting and missteps, and someone knowing that they were a part of the missteps. But is that a crime? Y'all have to let me know. All right, friends, do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to me. And leave me a comment letting me know what you all think. All right, friends, take good care of yourselves, okay? Don't be drinking by the water, please, or on the water. Just be careful. All right, now. Bye for now.